Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the first broadcast, Tuesday broadcast of video clips. I missed you. I'm sure you missed me too, and you're anxious to have more news. The first thing I want to tell you, and this is really cool, we reached our subscriber goal of 20,000. Actually, it's almost 21,000. So this week, we're going to do a drawing, and next week, you will find out who won the $200 certificate toward courses. So we're going to do that shortly. Have some announcements as always. This Friday is the deadline for packages. Okay, so we always do a special package offer in January, and so you have until Friday to save as much as $3,000 depending on what you sign up for. So if you're interested in talking about it, send me an email at pampopper@msn.com. We'll set up a time. The Diet Lifestyle Intervention course, CEs for doctors and nurses, starts in next week on Wednesday night, so you have some time. And that's one of the packages, by the way, Diet Lifestyle plus some other courses. You can save a lot of money depending upon which one you sign up for. Psych drug withdrawal for practitioners starts next week as well. Everything starts next week, I guess. So anyway, make sure that if you're planning on participating in these things, this is the time to have a conversation about it. So pampopper@msn.com, send me an email. Lots of interesting books we're going to talk about this month. We're going to talk about The Undoing Project by Michael Lewis. Long story about this book, but basically two Israeli psychologists turned psychology on its head while they were at Hebrew University. And the work that they did won the Nobel Prize and also changed decision-making in every field, including medicine. So I've dug up a whole lot of material outside the book on the work of these two psychologists and their impact on medicine, which impacts you in ways that you don't know about. So these are workshops that you might want to participate in. And then I'm really, really excited to tell you that Diet Fiction, the movie, is out. It's available. We're going to be showing it here in Columbus at our center on January 16th, I think is the date. You can watch it on iTunes, Amazon, Vimeo On Demand, and Google Play. So if you want to watch this great movie, a lot of our staff are in it. Chef Del Shrove, our dietitian Julie Gardner, Julie Holbrook. She was Julie Gardner when the film was made. Now she's Julie Holbrook. But anyway, Julie's in it. I'm in it. Peter Gertz is in it. Peter Bregan is in it. So a lot of Wellness Forum Health folks are in this film. And the book will be available shortly too. So lots going on around here at Wellness Forum Health. And excuse me. If you're thinking you want to participate in some of these workshops and classes that we're offering, and we're offering a boatload of them this year, just email pampopper@msn.com. And of course, if you're interested in a career in this field, also send an email. We can set up a time to talk. All right, I got a lot of feedback last year on an article that I did, that I wrote and did a video clip on about children and playing. Because the American Academy of Pediatrics and the World Health Organization and many, many organizations interested in child welfare have published a lot of research and actual recommendations that children need to play, unstructured playtime. There are proven benefits. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles that show that kids are better cognitively, they get along with others, they're more stable and quiet and calm and all kinds of things if you let them play. Well, it was interesting. I got a lot of feedback on it because people are concerned about children and their health status and that sort of thing, saying, yes, children need unstructured time just to play. Well, as it turns out, play is also good for adults in a slightly different way, but a lot of research to support adults in playing too. So most adults think that play is for kids. Grown-ups are supposed to be serious and invest their time in serious endeavors and being productive all the time. I can be guilty of that. The closest activity that a lot of adults come to playing is when they play some type of sports, like they're on a basketball team or a softball team or something of that nature. And but even that has a life goal attached to it. People will say, well, what I do for fitness is I play softball in the summertime or I play volleyball or whatever. It's almost like they have to justify that something productive comes out of it in order to engage in the activity. But according to two researchers, Yarnell and Chion, play is just as important for adults as it is for kids. For adults, it's a way to nurture friendships, it improves cognitive and psychological function, and playing contributes to healthy aging. Well, childhood play is easy to define. The definition of play for adults is actually quite different. And it depends more on the attitude of the person than the specific activity in which the person is engaged. So for example, two people can be engaged in the same activity. And let's say researching a topic. And one person looks at doing that research as a chore and a kind of a pain in the butt, and I wish I didn't have to do it, while another person says, this is really fun. I'm having a good time searching and finding things. I'm that person who says it's really fun. Other people think it's drudgery. Same activity, different perception about what that activity means. To this point, Peter Gray, a psychologist, says that for adults, play is not an all or none proposition. Children engage in pure play, but adult play is often part of activities that are considered to be adult responsibilities. And he says that children play while adults often are said to have a playful attitude toward the things that they're doing. So you can have a playful attitude toward the work that you're doing, for example. He also goes on to say, adults who have a great deal of freedom as to how and when to do their work often experience their work as play, even, in fact, especially when the work is difficult. In contrast, people who must do just what other people tell them to do at work rarely experience their work as play. So if you're fortunate enough to have a flexible work environment, which I do, and which a lot of the people around here do, where you can let your interests take you to a certain place, you might think that your work is play. Dr. Gray says that there are 5 characteristics of adult play. The play is self-chosen and self-directed. If it's what somebody wants to do, rather than you have to do this at this moment, it makes a big difference in the attitude. The means are more valued than the ends. In other words, reading a book in order to pass a test is not usually considered play by most people, but reading a book for pleasure is. But going to the playful attitude, reading a book for work that's fun to read gives the reading an element of play and enjoyment. On the other hand, playing basketball can be a fun Thursday night activity, but if it turns into such a competitive thing that the whole goal is to win and nobody cares about the actual playing of the game, then all of a sudden that becomes just like going to work. And I think we have to be kind of careful at that we don't get so caught up in overachieving on every single level that everything we do turns into more work. It's almost like your workday extends from the time you get up until the time you go to bed because you feel like you have to be best at every single thing that you do. Structure and rules are developed by the person playing and they're not directed by somebody else. There's imagination and it's mentally removed from some of the serious life issues that people are dealing with. The adult playing is in a non-stressed frame of mind which allows for experimentation and creativity. Because the goal is not to succeed but rather to just have an experience, there's no fear of failure and so it's more enjoyable. And one of my examples of that is one of my work associates and good friends had bought me as a present an opportunity to paint. And I was one of those kids in high school that was the model because I was so unskilled when it came to doing art. And I said when I went to the first session, my goal is to not want to set fire to my artwork at the end of the evening. And not only did it turn out to be fun, it turned out that when I was just relaxing and having a good time, my paintings are actually pretty good. You can go to my Facebook page and see a couple of them. So my plan is to paint more this year. And I'm would have been considered the most unartistic person. In fact, when I told my sister I was painting, she goes, huh? She said, like, you mean walls, right? I said, no, I'm actually like painting pictures. Well, according to our researchers, Yanel and Chun, there are 15 qualities attributed to adults who regularly play or play at their work. And from these, they developed a definition that I think is kind of important, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Playful older adults are happy, optimistic, cheerful, amusing, positive, enthusiastic, and relaxed. In everyday exchanges, they tend toward mischief, naughtiness, clowning, joking, and teasing. They embody humor in ways that translate into laughter and amusement in others. They continue to approach the world with a measure of creativity and whimsy. Now, who would not want to be like that? Think about that for a minute. I think almost all adults could stand to have more fun. And I hate New Year's resolutions, but the reason why I'm giving this particular talk at this particular moment, and by the way, it's a referenced article, is because I think sometimes at the beginning of the year, it's a time when people assess what they're doing and how they're going to spend their next year. And I think it's important for all of us to do a little more playing. So I have 4 suggestions for you. First of all, consider the characteristics that I just listed of playful adults and ask yourself which apply to you and why. Give examples. So in other words, if you consider yourself to be an optimistic person, how do you, actually practice that in a way that's noticeable? Second, which of the characteristics that I listed do you not have but you would like to have? And so, for example, if you would like to be more relaxed, what would need to change and how could those types of changes happen? Third, think of some activities that you currently don't think of as play and maybe think of as drudgery. and think about how you could transform either your thought process about them or the way that you go about doing them so that they could be more fun. I've actually managed to do that with accounting and housework, which I didn't used to think of as so much fun, and now I kind of actually enjoy doing in a mindless sort of way. So how could you take something that you don't look forward to and make it more fun? And last, think of some playful activities that you're not engaging in and figure out how to start doing those things this year. So I'm really paying attention when people say, you know, I always wanted to take piano lessons. I know I'm going to do it. I always wanted to take art lessons, or I wanted to learn a different language, or think of the things that you've always wanted to do, because, you know, the time is ticking away and you only have so much time here on this planet. So every year that you don't do things that you want to do is a year that you've lost being engaged in activities that could be fun. So I'm going to be posting some stuff about this. I've made a commitment that I'm going to be posting a lot on my blog, which you can access at drpampopper.com. And so I'm going to post this. I'm going to post food journals. I'm going to sort of let everybody have a little more insight into my life. I want to keep what I'm doing here pretty science focused because that's what people expect. But if you have some interest in following along, I may even post some pictures of my paintings on my blog. But you can go to my Facebook page and see some of them. And like I said, I set the bar real low. I didn't want to set fire to the paintings when I was finished with them, and I actually hung them in my house, which I never expected I would do. So anyhow, as we're getting ready for 2019, make it a good one, and make it a good one not by just throwing out some statements and declarations to the world, but actually acting on some of these things so that you can have a more enjoyable life. Life is fun when you let it be fun and when you really kind of premeditate and do things to make it fun. All right, that's all for now, and I'll be back to you on Thursday with more news, but please do pass this on to other people who you think might enjoy watching it. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and join our community. As soon as we get to 25,000, we'll do another drawing, but wait till next Tuesday, you'll find out who won the drawing for the $200 certificate.